The story of Adam and Eve and their children is told in the book of Genesis in the Bible, particularly in chapters 4 and 5. Here's a more detailed account of their family and what happened to their children. Creation of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were the first humans created by God, as described in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. God created Adam from the dust of the earth, and Eve was created from one of Adam's ribs. They were placed in the Garden of Eden to live and tend to it. God commanded them to be fruitful and multiply, filling the earth with descendants. The fall of man. Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden, enjoying a perfect relationship with God. However, they were given one command: not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Eve was tempted by the serpent, Satan, and ate the fruit, then gave some to Adam, who also ate it. This act of disobedience is known as the fall. As a result, they became aware of their nakedness, felt shame, and were expelled from the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve's children. After their expulsion from Eden, Adam and Eve began to have children, and Genesis chapter 4 and 5 provide the following key information. Cain and Abel. Cain was their firstborn son. He became a farmer, growing crops. Abel, their second son, was a shepherd who took care of sheep. Both Cain and Abel brought offerings to God. Abel's offering was accepted by God because it was from the best of his flock, but Cain's offering was not accepted. Out of jealousy, Cain killed Abel. This is the first murder in the Bible. As a consequence, God cast Cain away, and he became a wanderer. Genesis chapter 4 verse 8-16. The birth of Seth. After Abel's death, Adam and Eve had another son, Seth. Genesis chapter 4 verse 25. The Bible says that Eve gave birth to Seth in place of Abel, whom she had lost. It is through Seth that Adam's line continues, as the Bible mentions that Seth had a son named Enosh. The descendants of Seth are important in the biblical narrative, as they are the ones who continue to worship God. It is in the days of Enosh that people began to call on the name of the Lord. Genesis chapter 4 verse 26. Adam's other children. Genesis chapter 5 verse 4 says that Adam had other sons and daughters. The Bible does not name these other children or give a specific number, but it implies that Adam and Eve had many descendants over the course of Adam's long life. The exact number of their children is not provided in the Bible, but based on the lifespans mentioned, Adam lived 930 years. It is assumed they had a large family. The line of Seth and the generations. Genesis chapter 5 outlines the descendants of Adam through Seth. Here's a brief summary of some key figures in that line. Seth, father of Enosh. Enosh, father of Kenan. Kenan, father of Mahalalel. Mahalalel, father of Jared. Jared, father of Enoch. Enoch, father of Methuselah. Enoch was taken by God without dying, as described in Genesis chapter 5 verse 24. Methuselah, father of Lamech. Lamech, father of Noah. Genesis chapter 5 verse 29. Noah, one of the most well-known figures in the Bible, is the great-great-grandson of Adam and Eve through the line of Seth. Noah and his family are central to the story of the flood in Genesis 6:9. What happened to their children? Cain. After murdering Abel, Cain was marked by God and became a wanderer. He settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden, where he built a city and had descendants. Cain's line is noted in Genesis chapter 4 verse 17-24, and some of his descendants are mentioned, including Lamech, who is noted for a poem about vengeance. Genesis chapter 4 verse 23-24. Abel. Abel was murdered by Cain, and his story serves as a tragic reminder of the consequences of sin and jealousy. Seth. Seth continued the righteous line of Adam and Eve. His descendants, through figures like Enoch, are noted for their faithfulness to God. 3. Enoch was particularly significant because he walked with God and was taken by God without experiencing death. Genesis chapter 5 verse 24. Seth's line continued to grow, eventually leading to Noah, who was chosen by God to survive the great flood that would wipe out the rest of humanity. Adam's lifespan and death. Adam lived for 930 years. Genesis chapter 5 verse 5. The Bible does not describe much about his life after the birth of Seth, but it notes that he had other children and that he saw several generations of his descendants before he died. Summary. Adam and Eve had many children, but the Bible specifically mentions Cain, Abel, and Seth. Cain killed Abel, and Seth became the ancestor of the righteous line that led to Noah. Adam lived for 930 years and saw many of his descendants grow, including his children and grandchildren. Through the line of Seth, the human race continued, and eventually, Noah emerged as the key figure in the biblical flood narrative. Though the Bible doesn't provide all the details about the lives of Adam and Eve's other children, it highlights the significance of their descendants in the unfolding story of humanity.